Right then everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. In today's lesson, what we're going to be doing is actually taking you out on the golf course and going through some different scenarios. So I'm down at La Cala, I'm on the Europa course, I'm playing the back nine, and what we're doing is going to go through some different situations like choosing the correct tee shot, what irons to hit into greens, putting tips, chipping tips, everything basically you're going to face out on the golf course, we're going to go through in this little vlog. So sit back, enjoy the beautiful sights, and let's go and learn how to get out on the golf course. Learn how to get out. We know how to get out. You just book a tee time and go and play. Let's learn how we get on when we're actually out on the golf course. Let's go. So first little tip for you, before you go out, I'd always mark your golf ball up. For me, put a little line on it. That helps with the putting. We'll get into that later. So always mark your balls before you actually tee off. So here's a tip for you. Once you've hit your green, the green you're playing to, as you're walking up, you can always start to actually assess the situation. So you'll feel if there's any slopes. So for me, as I'm walking up to my putt here now, I can already see it starting to go this way a little bit. So as you're actually getting onto the green, start to take a little bit of attention onto your putt so you're not wasting time and you've actually got a little bit more info of what you're actually doing. Let's have a roll at this one, see if we can start the day off with a birdie. Remember as well, always endeavour to make your pitch mark. You don't want to, let's say, repair, not make. If you make one, repair it. You don't want it knocking other people's putts offline and yours. Changing my mind over the line of that putt then, thought it was going to break a little bit more, so pulled it a little bit, but whenever you're reading a putt, what you would notice is that the first line you pick generally is pretty right. What your eyes are generally seeing is what you want to be trusting a little bit more. So don't change your mind over your putts. Lesson number one on the putting green. So one of the things to do on a tee shot is actually choose a shape that you're confident with, even despite the shape of the hole. So this hole here, the 11th, is a par 5, and it's a big sweeping dogleg right to left. Now the fairway runs from right to left, so anything that you hit up into the right corner is going to fall back down anyway. But what for me, I don't draw the ball with confidence. I generally like to cut everything, so this hole really requires a bit of a draw, but at the minute I'm not that confident that I'm going to be able to produce it. So instead of trying to take on a shot that the hole should suggest, try and make it actually play towards your swing. So there's a house up in the distance we might be able to see. I can cut it at that and know it will land pretty much right side of the fairway, and I've still got a shot down. Even if it means laying up, it's better than me taking it on and turning into no man's land on the left because I'm not that confident with the swing. So on your tee shots, always pick something that you're confident with. Don't try and just do what the hole demands you to do. Play to your strengths. Perfect. Okay, so navigated that par 5 quite well. I could have maybe gone for it in 2, but I decided to lay up. Now, if we look at this green, as we look over towards the flag there, what you'll notice is that it's quite well protected and it's right at the back of the green. It's 127 yards and the wind is a little bit into me. So what you've got to now do is have a look at the situation that we can see here. There's bunkers, 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 and that pin's in a slither of a portion of the green right at the back. So it might be best for me to play more to the fat of the green. So when you're out on the course and maybe your confidence isn't quite high and you're not controlling your irons exactly how you want to, what we want to start to do is actually make calculated decisions and actually give ourselves a little bit of room for error. So playing to the fat of the green at maybe 125 now, it's going to be better than me trying to hunt that flag down if I'm not striking it great and then put myself in a bad position. You don't have to make birdie every time or have to go hunting for flags. What you've got to do is try and limit the errors you make out on the golf course. So I'm going to go pitching wedge because I know that that'll put me nicely in the middle of the green, as where, with it being a bit into wind at 127, it should be a 9-iron really, but I'm just going to play to the heart of the green, see if I can hole a 20-foot putt. So pick my shot, aim at that fat part of the green, pretty much done to order. You can see what I mean about a slither there. Hardly any green, about 3 paces either side of it. I've actually pitched about 10 foot and spun back down, but it was the safe play. Okay, so here's a fairway tip for you. The flag that is up on the green here is 155 yards. I'm slightly into wind, but it's literally, from looking at it from here, it's about 3 yards on the green. So what I'm going to do is actually play beyond it. A lot of people that I coach and when I go out on the course with them, they get the number for the flag and they don't think there's anything past it. There's probably a good 20 yards of green there. So if I were to try and bust my 8-iron 155 into this slight bit of wind and it pulls up short, there's a downslope before the green, I'm dead. As well, now if I hit 7-iron and play as if it's 165, even if I don't quite get it, I'll probably fall on the flag and it'll look like a pretty good shot. Not my best swing there at all, just missed it left of the green. Not good, not a good place to miss it at all, but take note of this now. So back from where I was, you can see now I'm pin high. If I would have hit my 8-iron, there's a bunker down here that's just out of shot. I would have been down in that and it would have been a 20, 30 yard uphill bunker shot to a raised green. Even though it was my poorest swing of the day so far, I've actually got away with quite a little bit here. Now onto the chipping advice. So when we're looking at chipping here, I've got to go over this bunker, and then if I was to get it stone dead and get it really close, I'd have to land it maybe 2 or 3 feet just onto the fringe. Now I've got to accept that I've hit a poor shot and I've put myself in a bad situation at this point. But looking a little bit beyond the flag, there's now a big upslope the other side of the green, almost a bit like a backboard for me. So here, instead of trying to be too cute and run the risk of flopping it into the bunker and then having to play another shot out of there, I can be a bit more aggressive, knowing that if I do go past it, it can hit the backboard and roll down a little bit. So it gives me that little bit of cushion to go at it a little bit more and not try and play a shot that I might not be overly comfortable with. I think a lot of people try and bite off a little bit more than they can chew sometimes when chipping, trying to play these wonder shots. So try and hit it past the flag a little bit when you're chipping. You know, give yourself a chance of, even if it doesn't pull up next to the flag, at least you've not fallen into a trap or a water hazard or back down the slope. Give yourself of maybe holding it as it runs by, but then you can always hold a 5 or 6 foot putt coming back a little bit. So pick the club, pick the shot you want, and then commit to it. And like I say, just play past it, don't try and be too cute. Not bad, stopped up pretty quickly, and I've got about 5 feet there from a par. Okay, so really good chip there it turned out in the end. Probably because I had the confidence of knowing I had that little bit of a buffer behind the flag. I got a really nice strike on it and it pulled up quickly, as where if I was trying to be too cute, the strike may not have been as good and it probably wouldn't have pulled up as quickly. So always have a look, see what you can get away with, and don't try and bite off more than you can chew. Now the putt, what I've been faced with here is just this little 5-footer. And what I see too many times is a lack of respect. People walking up and just hitting these putts, not actually giving it the treatment it deserves, the actual care of going through your routine, marking the ball, cleaning it, reading the line, lining the putt up and hitting it. So even though it's a short one and we would expect to actually hold these more often than not, make sure you're going through your routine, have a look, line it up, get into it, choose your line, then hit the putt. So you go through it, do your normal routine of what you would do, in, pick the line, and in we go. A little bit of respect and you'll start to hold more of them. So here's my next bit of advice. Know when to take the risk. So as we look here, I'm now 235 yards away from the flag that is over there. And as we can see, it's surrounded by danger. I've got to carry it over a ravine and make sure that it lands very softly on the green. Now, 235 would be a good 3-wood for me through the air and stopping it. So the chances of getting that perfectly spot on are very limited. But what I have got is just over to the left-hand side of the green here, just over this rock pretty much. I can go 200 yards, which is a 5-iron, and then have a 30-yard pitch straight up the green with loads of green to work with. So for me, I know I can pitch quite close with a 52, let's say. I know I'm going to be pretty good from 30 yards in. I know that I can hit 5-iron to pretty much a 50-yard wide target, as opposed to trying to hit a 3-wood to a 10-foot landing spot. So know when to take the risk. Is it worth it, yes or no? Is there an easier option where you can still make the score you want to make? Take that advice, see if it works. I would imagine you'll probably make more birdies or pars playing the other way than trying to play that hero shot that comes off maybe 2 in 10. So that worked out really well for here in the fairway. I've got about 15 yards up to the green, and it's a pretty straightforward pitch now. As well, you can see the bunkers here. It's not a big landing spot for a 3-wood, so taking that safer option, something I was a little bit more comfortable with, leaves me now a nice little pitch straight at the flag. Nice, got a 5-footer for birdie. Okay, so putts of these lengths, what we would find, sometimes I think people read too much into them, trying to find something that isn't there. I'm straight up a hill now, and what I'd suggest to do is that you don't generally, unless there's a severe break, don't aim outside of the hole. Try and play it a little bit more towards the middle of the hole or just inside it, and then actually give it a little bit more pace so it stays on line. Don't let gravity take too much of the putt. Don't let it break too much. Be confident. So if it would miss, it would go a foot by, and don't go outside the hole. Aim pretty much dead center like I'm doing here. A little bit more pace and hopefully you should hole it. Just like that one, never left the hole, real easy. I could have probably tried playing that just outside left edge and let it slide in, but a bit more confidence, believe in yourself, and you'll start knocking those 5, 6, 7 footers in when you're not going outside the hole so much. Okay, so par 3 advice here. If you're someone who tees it up with an iron on a par 3, watch you don't tee it up like this. Okay, so watch we don't tee it up like this. As we can see, if I put that club in now, even if I just face the camera with it, the actual ball is very high up on the face. So if I were to strike it, it would come out somewhere up here on the face. We want to get it more out of the middle or towards the bottom a little bit more. So make sure it's pegged down low enough so when you put the club in, it's not covering the top half of your club. So there we go. Make sure you've not got that ball pegged too high, because you're going to get it out of the roof of the iron and it's going to lack in distance. Then it won't come out as far as you would normally think it would do. You could make a great swing, have the ball too pegged up, comes out the roof and falls 10 yards short. Make sure it's pushed down pretty much all the way into the ground, that tee peg, so when you do get it, you get it out of the sweet spot of the club and you don't do yourself any disfavours. Okay, so on the fairway here, this shot, as we can see, the ball's going to be above my feet here. So it's a sloping lie, as we'd call it. Ball's above me, I'm below. So what that means now, as I'd play this shot, because the ball is more vertical than it would be normally, so it's up above where I'd normally be stood to, what's going to happen is I'm going to start swinging around my body a little bit more. So for me, a player who generally comes about 1 degree from out to in, what you would see now is that my path would be more in to out a little bit. So what effect's that going to have on the golf ball? Well, if I aim my face at the target and then swing more from the inside, we would see generally that the ball should swing right to left for the right-handed player. So if you get onto a slope like this, don't try and fight against it, actually go with it a little bit. So where I'm aiming would be straight here. Now I'm going to aim 5 yards to the right and allow the ball to turn back over towards the target. I'm not going to try and cut it and actually play against the slope on this one. I'm going to set myself up, allow myself to swing a little bit more around my body and see that the ball turns. So pick a target that would be a little bit further right than you would normally aim, and then from there take your setup. I'd also just grip down the club 1/2 inch to 1 inch, because that ball's actually up and a little bit closer to you, so we don't want to bottom the club out too early. Take your aim and allow the ball to swing in like it would do from this slope. It's a perfect tiny little draw, left side of the green. Lovely. Okay, so final hole for me. One of the things you've got to try and do when teeing up is pick a bit of an intermediate target. Now this hole here, you won't be able to see the green. It's very much downhill and I don't know where it's going to land. I could see the rough area, but I'm not too sure. So actually being able to vision the shot and where I want it to go is pretty tough. So what I do is basically stand behind the golf ball and draw a line from something in the distance and then run it back down where it meets my golf ball, and then pick something about 1 foot or 2 foot in front. So then when I can't see what I'm actually aiming at, I know if I try and swing over my intermediate target that I pick, so let's just do that now. Okay, I've got my line, so I've picked out, for me, there's a little bit of discoloured grass there that makes sense to me. Now, all I have to do is align my club face to that. So I get in and have my practice swings, go through my routine. And then for me, it's line up to the club towards that discoloured glass, make sure my body's square to it. And then now I'm just gonna hit the shot, have a look into the distance, pick that target that I looked at, trace my eyes back down to the discoloured grass, and then I'm just thinking about sending the ball over that now. And if I get it along there, it should be on my target. Always pick an intermediate target. Okay, so I'm on a down slope now for my final shot into the green. So what I'm gonna have to do is angle my shoulders to the slope to try and make my club still play the same. As it goes down here, it's gonna take loft off the club. So I've got my most lofted club to try and still get the height I need for this 30-yard pitch into the green. Because of the angle of the slope, like I say, it's going to come down a little bit steeper. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to lean a lot into my lead side, so my front foot. Turning back, I won't get as much rotation as I normally would, and I'll struggle to rotate to finish because there's a lot of pressure going forward. So allow for almost a little bit of a cutty shot. It's going to move left to right a bit slicey when the ball's down in front of you, because I can't turn as much as I can. And like I say, it's going to come out a little bit lower, so you've got to now allow for that extra little bit of run. So if you were going to land it, say 10 feet from the flag normally, play it back to land it 20 feet because it'll come out and run a little bit more. So let's give that a go. So angle my body to the slope, not going to turn that much through. So I'm going to aim slightly left of the flag and land it a little bit shorter than I normally would do with my 58. Here, let's give it a go. Go on then. Oh, nearly went in. Okay, so final shot. If you ever find yourself without a putter, by the way, you might lose it, might break it. You can use your lob wedge to putt. You can use your putter grip, hover the club ever so slightly and just take it like a little bit of a thin shot. It does exactly the same job. Great little shot out the fringe as well if it's ever in a little bit of a dodgy lie. So guys, I hope you've enjoyed this vlog. Me playing out on the golf course for once and actually giving you some tips and scenarios that you're going to face when you're out there. We've covered putting, we've covered tee shots, we've covered fairway shots, we've covered chipping. There's loads there, so re-watch it maybe a couple of times and, you know, take that information in, go through those different ones as well. If you've enjoyed this video, do leave a comment down below of more scenarios you'd like to see when I do my next one out on the golf course. Also leave a like. Guys, as well, do remember to hit the subscribe button and turn on the bell notification so you don't miss any future lessons from myself. Also, a big thank you to Cala for having me out here this week. The weather's been perfect when it's been awful at home. The golf courses are amazing, and if you want any more info, all the information's down in the link below. Check them out. It's well worth a visit here. Guys, thanks for watching this video and keep improving your golf. Take that birdie there. Woo.